Hey, Krista.
Hey, Lily.
Did you know in your lifetime you'll pass a murderer 36 times?
I did. And you know why?
Why?
Because we're 36 Times, a Canadian true crime podcast which covers crimes in the Great White North.
Oh, right.
Every episode, we focus on a major crime and then we lighten things up with a kooky one.
We talk about everything from the criminal justice system itself to animals arguably not doing what they should, bringing you true crime with a shot of maple syrup.
Catch our episodes bi-weekly on iTunes or your favorite, that's favorite with a U, podcast app.
Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
And welcome back to another episode of the Intoxicated podcast. My name is Sarah, and about a year ago, I came up with this really crazy idea to start a drunk podcast. I decided I would have my friends on, they would choose an alcohol, and we would just talk about life. And now we're going on episode 35. Crazy, 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 crazy. Well, welcome back to the show, guys. And this week, we have my friend Brenda on the podcast. Brenda is just an overall awesome human being. She is one of those friends that I don't have in my life on a regular basis, and that needs to change. We don't hang out very often, but when we do, it's always an amazing time because she's just a positive, really smart, fun person. We recently got together for drinks and caught up, and she decided to come on the podcast to talk about some really interesting things. Brenda has body dysphoria. For those who don't know what that is, it is essentially when you don't feel connected or happy with a certain part of your body. She also identifies as Placiosexual, which is a very interesting sexuality. It's actually a type of asexuality. It's on the asexuality spectrum. Now, admittedly, I didn't know much about asexuality before this conversation. One thing we do address in this episode is kind of the misconception about asexuality, that it's literally just someone who doesn't experience sexual attraction, but really, there's a lot of things that fall under asexuality that people don't know about. So it was really, really cool to talk about that with Brenda, who identifies as Placiosexual, which is essentially when somebody feels no desire to receive sexual acts, but expresses interest and desire in performing them on someone else. So that's really, really interesting. I really do love this kind of new twist that the podcast is taking for me, which is I really love getting guests on that know stuff about stuff that I know nothing about. So this episode is a great example of that. I really learned a lot from Brenda, and I think you can too. I think this episode is just proof that all of us need to open our minds a bit. We need to be accepting of other people's identities and journeys that they're taking in life, and we can always learn a thing or two about stuff like this, because regardless of how you feel about labels, we all love differently, and really that's what sexuality is about. Once you figure out what that is, you're gonna feel a lot more free as a person. And sitting down, hanging out with Brenda, it was really, really evident that she's just somebody who's kind of figured out her place in life, and I respect that a lot. She's an awesome person, and hopefully she'll come back on because she has a lot of great insight into life, and that's one of the things I really, really like about her, and that's why I was so stoked when I found out she was coming on the podcast. I really think you guys are going to enjoy this episode. And speaking of the podcast, guys, I mentioned it at the start of my intro. It was around this time last year that I actually came up with the idea for this podcast and was brainstorming ideas with my friends, and that's when actually Corey came up with the name InTalksicated. I have the message screenshot. I have the proof. He can take full credit for the very awesome name that we have for our show. I will likely be posting that on the Intoxicated Instagram. So make sure you give him some props for coming up with the name, because let's face it, he can always hold that over me. So speaking of Corey, he is the host and producer of Intoxicated Reviews, the separate feed dedicated to TV and movies. He is knocking out some great stuff over on Intoxicated Reviews, getting lots of guests on, and he is continuing his series with Brian Thompson, all about revisiting some movies from their childhood. So this week week he is talking about 1989's The Punisher, sort of in light of The Punisher coming out on Netflix. So go check that out if you are someone who maybe watched the movie or is wondering if you should. If you are a movies and TV lover, make sure you are subscribed to Intoxicated Reviews wherever you find podcasts. And if you're enjoying the podcast, you can always follow us on social media. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Intoxicated Podcast, on Twitter at @in_toxicated. If you have any kind of feedback or questions for us or anything or something you want us to cover, you can always email us at intoxicatedpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also check out our website at www.intoxicatedpodcast.com. Now let's get to the show with the very, very awesome Brenda.
Hey, this is it. So, everyone, welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. This is your host, Sarah. And this week, we have Brenda on the show. Hey, Brenda!
Hello.
Oh, hey, girl, hey!
What's up?
And I'm so proud of myself because we're drinking gin and tonics tonight. And this is the first time ever that we've done gin drink on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm so honored.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote. I'm 99% sure. So gin and tonics is we went out drinking on Friday night.
Yeah.
And you were drinking gin and tonics. So when we were done talking, I was like, gin and tonics is your drink, right?
Yeah.
And you said yeah. So you're a gin and tonic person. Is that like your poison? Everyone has their poison.
Yeah, it super is. I've been drinking gin and tonic for a little while. It was my friend who got me into them, and she was just like, all right, have you had a proper gin and tonic before? And I was like, I mean, they're okay, they're not bad. And she was like, okay, wait. And then she poured me a gin and tonic, and instead of lime, she put cucumbers, and then she cracked like fresh black pepper on it, and it changed my world.
I'm now sad that I did not bring cucumbers or pepper.
It's amazing. It's so refreshing and so good. So then I was hooked on gin and tonics from then on out, and like, it's my go-to now.
Damn.
I don't get like super sick off it. I don't get like really groggy and hungover. And when I do get like gin drunk, I get like really happy.
Drunk? That's
I can't stop smiling.
But I feel like gin and tonics are in the same family of my favorite drink, which is I like vodka soda water. It's kind of, I think we're around the same level. Like it's that kind of carbonated-y, like light refreshing drink that hydrates you in a way.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
It makes your hangovers amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been super hungover on it, and I'm a huge gin fan, and I feel like, I don't know. it's my go-to every time.
It's your go-to. Well, I'm glad we're drinking it. So we are drinking gin and tonics in honor of Brenda tonight. And let's bring it in for a cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
We always start with a cheers. But then, oddly enough, this is way better than the one I had at a bar once. I once ordered a gin and tonic at a bar, and it was disgusting. So
how can they screw that up?
I don't know how they screwed it up. It might have been a double. I think that might be I made a single this time. But another thing we do on the show, other than talking about what we're drinking, is friendship origin story. So how did we meet? I'm pretty sure we met through a mutual friend.
Yep.
Was it just at a party?
It was at a party like a long time ago, like where I used to work. I ran into a relative, and then from there they invited me to a party, and I was like, sure, I like people, I like parties, I'm there, and showed up, and then from there I met everybody else.
And it was me and Karen and Neve, I think. Like, I think we met you kind of all together.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Danielle was there too. Yeah.
I think so. And then it was just that's about it. But like, you're one of those friends in my life that like, I don't, like, we probably see each other like every now and then. But like, whenever we do, it's like awesome.
Thank you. I agree. Like, I totally agree. It's great. I love being away for a while and then coming back and still like reconnecting with people. Like, definitely one of those types that if anybody messages me, no matter how much time it's been, and they're like, look, it's been forever, like, let's grab a drink, let's go do a thing, and whatever. I'm like, absolutely, yeah.
Love it.
Love that.
And I love that you take initiative on that, because you were the one who took initiative this weekend for asking, like, I'm in town for this many number of days, like, let's go out. And then we just made it happen, because even if we had other stuff going on, we're like, whatever, Brenda's in town, fuck it, we're going to see Brenda. Like, you're just one of those people.
Aw, thank you.
That you're so much fun to hang out with.
Thank you.
And I'm so fucking stoked you're on this podcast, because I think you're going to be an amazing guest.
I'm very excited to be here, and I'm honored, so thank you.
Yeah, this is fantastic. So yeah, we don't, I think we ran into each other at Pride, actually.
We did.
And you gave me a little bit of a rundown of your life and what it's all about. And I think I was just kind of like, I have so many questions. I want to know everything. And now here we are.
Yes.
So tell me everything. No.
Tell me everything.
So you identify as?
I identify as female. And I love being a woman. I still like
Here, here.
Yes, here.
Here to women. Yes, yes. I mean, it's fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Not all the time it's fun.
I love it all the time. I do. I love being a woman, and I love identifying as female. And for a long time, I just had this kind of struggle where I knew that I had a really huge problem with like my chest. And I like had friends that were that are trans, and I was thinking like, I want top surgery, but I was like, no, like if you want top surgery, that means you have to be trans. And I knew I wasn't trans. So for me, that was really, really difficult because I didn't understand what it meant and why I didn't like my chest no matter what. But at the same time, like I still identified as woman and liked identifying that way and like very much do. And it was actually a friend of mine was talking to me and she was like, have you ever thought about you maybe being like trans? And I was like, of course I have. Like, I'm just not. Yeah. And even the idea of like taking like testosterone from me, it was not who I was. And I knew that. And so she had asked me if I had heard of body dysphoria before. And I was like, no, not really. Like I was like, I feel like I have, but not enough to say that I do. So like, what are you getting at here? And she was just like, well, do you ever feel that like maybe like if you just didn't have, like if you had pecs, like a male identifying chest that you and still identified as female, that you would still be comfortable with who you are? And I was like, it just kind of like clicked. The second she said it, it was almost like, wait, you can do that? And she was like, of course you can. It's your body. Like if you are uncomfortable in a like certain way, then you are allowed to be comfortable. Like that's okay. And so I just like, I did a bit more research into it. And like I don't like my chest. So I don't wear a binder. I'm very small. So I get away with wearing a sports bra. Nice. And
that was my first question was, do you still wear bras?
Yeah. Just sports bras that kind of for me are they're a binder. They're an acting binder for me. So and it's working, which is great. I definitely like, there's moments where I can either see the silver lining or I can be really upset and offended. And what I mean by that is, it always happens with washrooms. It's the most popular place for this mistake to be made. And like I said, I could choose to be really upset about it, or I can choose to see the silver lining. Now, the problem has been that I'll walk into a bathroom and there'll be a woman already standing in there and she'll turn to me and she'll go, oh, I think you're in the wrong room. And I'll go, I'm actually not. And I go into the washroom, or I'll go into the room and a woman will stop me and be like, oh, the men's washroom is there.
What the heck? People do that?
It happens a lot. Like a lot. Or I'm in the washroom already and a woman will open the door, see me, close the door, walk back out, and then walk back in because she thinks that she's gone into the men's room. So for me, again, I could be really upset about that. But the way I look at it is there's something that I always notice, or I get fella a lot. Oh, this is a good guy. He'll help you out. Or he seems like a nice guy. And it's because as soon as they look at me, they do the up and down with the eyes. You know, they're checking me out to try to figure out what it is. And they immediately dart to my chest. And my chest is so flat that they automatically are like, that's a guy. So while I don't appreciate that they are
making assumptions
about my gender, I'm also looking at the silver lining in that it's working. Like
that's true. There would be two sides of the coin.
There's two sides of the coin, and like I said, I could be really offended and really upset about it. But this just means that like people are seeing me the way I want my chest to be seen. Yeah. Yes, they're getting my gender wrong, but at least like I don't look like I have boobs, and that feels so good because I get really self-conscious about it because I think everybody sees that I have them and they're like, oh, this girl is like, you know, you spiral in your own head and you think people are staring and they're all trying to figure it out, and it's just like when they make that first glance and they make that mistake, it's like you had no idea because my sports bra's working.
Oh wow, so, that's crazy. That's such a weird, like it's such a weird conflict.
Yeah, so it's a love-hate thing where like again I choose to see the silver lining in it, and I choose to be positive about it instead of like letting it, you know, get to me and be super heated about it all day, or you know, let it you know, fester. I'm just like, no, the sports bra is working, and that's what I got it for, and that's why I wear it, is so that way people like, it helps me feel like I already have that chest that I want.
That you want. Right.
Exactly.
And so when people say, like, when you encounter someone in a bathroom and they make a mistake like that, do you correct them?
No, I don't correct them. I'll just start speaking.
Right.
I'm just like, nope, I'm in the right washroom. And like, I have a feminine voice. Like, like it's not like it's not like as soon as they hear it that they're like, oh, we're still not sure if this is, you know, but it's like, no, as soon as I speak, like I might even sometimes pick a little and go a little bit higher where I'm like, no, I'm in the right place. Like, just be like,
do you find that they're embarrassed after that?
They usually get very embarrassed. Yeah. And they feel like there's been...
I just wouldn't, as someone, if I was in that situation, I just wouldn't say anything because it's 2017. Relax. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we're not the washroom police. Like, relax.
Yeah. I mean, I think there should be all gender bathrooms everywhere. That's just what I think. And whatever. Like, if there's a female bathroom, cool. But I'll also go into an all genders bathroom.
Absolutely, yeah.
100%. Like, I don't care, but I mean, it's just weird to me that some people would, like, actually say something. Like, in my mind, I just would not say anything. I might have that curiosity and be like, oh, I wonder. But I wouldn't say anything. I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird things.
Yeah, no, I've definitely gotten, like, I get a lot of fellas. This fella, which is interesting. And it sometimes, like, I don't say anything. I just stand there and smile and I, like, nod my head and I'm like, which is just a little entertaining for me. I probably shouldn't. But at the same time, like I said, I'm trying to think of it positively.
Right.
And, like, the second I do speak, like, most people are incredibly embarrassed. And, like, it seems to be, like, I don't even need to say anything because they've already know that they made a fool of themselves.
Right.
And made assumptions that they shouldn't have. So it's just, like... You know, it's not that bad when it's washrooms. It happens the most in washrooms. It's when it's in public places that really bother me. So, like, I was going through security at the airport, and one of the security officers was like, yeah, just over here, sir. And I just, like, I smiled and kind of shook my head, and he had taken my ID. And, like, you know, it's like, it's all on there. The information's on there. Like,
if you're being good at your job, you should read the whole ID. Like, you should read everything.
You know, and I'm like, so I walk and, like, one of the other security guards turned to him and I heard her say, like, you should be careful when you say genders. And he looked back at me and he was like, oh, I'm really sorry about that, ma'am. And then everybody was looking at me. And I was like, and then I got really red because for me, it was like, you know what? I didn't need you to say anything. When she told you, that's when you should have just kept your mouth shut and been like, oh, from now here on out, the rest of the day / forever, I'm going to be careful.
Or say it, like, a little more under your breath, a little quieter, or, like, just say, like, oh, sorry. Like, why make it this big?
Yeah, like, called out to me, so I, like, turned around, and, like, the look on I was so shocked, and I could feel how red my face got, and it was just like, you made that?
Such a thing.
Such a thing. It didn't need to be. Like, I realized that you made the mistake, and I super get that. And that was kind of annoying because you literally did just look at my ID. But whatever, I'm going to move on. I got places to be. But the fact that you then decided that you needed to make an announcement about it, like, really? Yeah. You can just shut it down there. Just shut it down.
That's so, oh my God.
Yeah, and he wasn't the first person to do that.
Holy shit.
I've had people do that before where all of a sudden they'll call and be like, oh, sorry, ma'am. And they, like, call it out to the room. And I'm like, why?
Like, it's unnecessary.
Like, why? The damage is done.
Also, why would they assume you're female? You could be something else.
I could be,
Like, there's not just two genders these days.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the other thing, too. Like, if they say sir and that's not correct, and then they say ma'am, that might not also be correct.
Exactly. Like,
and then what are you going to say, bud? Like,
exactly.
Then what are you going to say?
And what's, like, super fantastic about Canada is, like, we're about to get the X gender on the passports.
Oh, nice.
Which is fantastic. Like, that's so great that that's there, but that's just it. Like, don't automatically assume anymore. Like, it's not fair to anybody. Like, you want to get somebody's attention, hey, or like, excuse me. Yeah. Like, you don't need to add a pronouns after that because you don't know. It's just like, you never know. No matter how sure you may think you are, you still don't. So just,
Oh man, that's gonna be rough. So going back to the chest thing, when did it start happening that you were, like, looking in the mirror and you weren't, like, at what age did that kind of when did it start happening for you where you weren't happy with it?
From the time that I like pretty much started developing for me.
Really?
And I'll be very honest, I didn't know that that's what it was, but I can always like my whole life was really self-conscious about my chest and like being younger, like I hated being in like female bathing suits. Like I wanted to be like the guys, and like I wanted to wear like shorts and shorts and go shirtless. But obviously I couldn't do that. I did it when I was a little kid. You know, we all did. We all ran around with no shirts on when we were like 2 and 3 years old. And it's like,
so much.
Why can't I do that anymore? Oh, right. Because I'm like developing and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to still do that now.
Right?
Free the nipple.
Like, it's right, free the nipple. But like, so it's just, and like I would always stand like kind of hunched a little bit. So like I'd hold my shoulders forward. Yeah. Hoping that like a shirt would fall forward enough that you wouldn't be able to tell. And I never really knew like why I always did that. And it wasn't until like I started wearing tighter sports bras and like realized what they were doing and how much they were just like making it look like I had what would be a male's chest. And that was like, oh my goodness, like I feel so comfortable in my own skin and like in guys' clothes. And like I went through like from the time I was a kid to the time I was like 16, I wore guys' clothes. And then a little bit in high school, I started to wear girls' clothes again, mostly for other people. I didn't really do it for myself. And then,
I was going to say, what did your, like, did you ever feel pressure from your family, like, to dress a certain way? Because that's how girls are socialized, right? Wear your dresses, wear your skirts, like.
No, my family was great about it. Like, you know, especially being at home, like, your parents buy your clothes and stuff for you when you're younger. And I was, like, 12, 13 and buying, like, guys' jeans and shirts and shoes and, like, all of those, like, male clothing, if you will. And, my mom purchased it. She had no problem with it. It was never like, do you want to try the girl's shirt? Or do you want to try this? Or what about that? Like, she would always just like, that's what you're comfortable in, and that's what you're comfortable in.
That's
like,
awesome. That's really good.
So my parents were very, very supportive. My whole family was super supportive, which I'm really lucky. I know not everybody is that lucky that has a super supportive family. So I've been lucky in terms of that. And then I used to just do my hair up.
And you used to have, because when I met you, you had long hair.
Yeah, it's super long hair.
You had really long hair.
Yeah, it was like to my mid back long. Yeah. Yeah, and now it's like, oh, I love how short it is. It's amazing.
And you have great hair, by the way.
Thank you.
You style it amazingly.
I love my hair. Like, I've got like one thing going for me, and it's my great hair.
Describe your hair, because it's not a visual podcast yet.
Yeah.
So you have like, okay, can you describe it? It's like short. I'm so bad at describing hair.
No, it's okay. I'm trying to think of like an actor that it would go by. Ooh, let's go like Zac Efron 2 years ago ish.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where it's got the like I've got it shaved, like buzzed on the side, so it's like just an undercut. I used to get a bunch of designs in it, but my job won't allow that right now.
Right.
Just to keep it professional. But it's short on the sides, and then I keep it a little long on the top, and I either like kind of put it up,
or
I'll put it to the side, depending on kind of how I'm feeling. So today it's push up. I love it.
Yeah, it's very stylish. I enjoy it.
It's a very clean look, and I like it.
Hell yeah, and it must be so much easier than long hair.
Yeah.
Like, how much has your life gotten
the amount of shampoo I go through, like, I can have a bottle of shampoo for like 6 months. It's amazing.
I always wonder that with people with short hair. I'm like, how much? Because I use a lot. Like, I fill my palm with it. Like,
I like put it like the size of a dime.
Wow.
In my hand, yeah.
Yeah, and like just getting ready in the morning is like probably so much quicker.
Yep. It's like, especially like blow drying it. Like, I will always blow dry it, which I didn't always used to blow dry before. But like, it doesn't take long to blow dry, like maybe 5 minutes.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. I love it. I love my short hair.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm definitely a lot more comfortable in my own skin. I cut my hair for me. It was one of those things that I didn't do for a long time. I wanted to, and then it was just like I'd reached a point in my life that I was like, you know what? I'm going to choose to cut my hair because I choose to.
Cutting your hair is such a thing, though.
It was for me. It was like the most liberating thing because it was like a decision that I made. Nobody was like, you know, you would look really good with short hair. Cut it, or you know, like I was just like, I'm gonna do this because I want to. And then I got rid of all my female article clothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
Did it all happen at once, kind of, where you had this liberating, or was it kind of just over time?
It's a little bit over time, yeah. It hasn't even been a year yet since I like really heard about body dysphoria and really started looking into it and stuff. So that's still relatively new for me. But it was one of those things where like, it would be about a year and a half ago now. I was at like my peak fitness. I had like very nearing a 6-pack, which was wonderful. I aesthetically, I very much had reached a point that I'd wanted to for a long time.
Right.
In terms of like muscle gain, and still would look in the mirror and be so upset and like disappointed in what I saw. And I couldn't figure it out. So I was like, how you were like in the best shape you've ever been, how do you still hate your reflection? Like, why? What is your problem?
Right.
And I couldn't figure it out. And now that I'll even just stand there sometimes and close my eyes and like visualize the like kind of chest that I'm going for, and I'll open my eyes again, and I'm much more comfortable even in just doing that alone.
Nice.
That moment of like taking a second or realizing that it's only temporary, or wearing my like super tight sports bra, like that is definitely making the difference.
Wow.
So yeah.
Crazy. But you do want to eventually get surgery.
Yeah.
Top surgery. It's called top surgery, right?
Yes.
And how hard is that to get? Is that a process?
It's a process, and it's
expensive.
expensive.
I can imagine it would be like...
It's really expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you kind of saving up for it at this point?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. It's something
That's
that
awesome.
like I said, it hasn't even been a year yet, and I want to make sure, obviously, that it's exactly what I want. Like, once you have that surgery, you have that surgery.
There's no going back.
So, and it's a big surgery, and it is absolutely like the more, even though like I'm giving myself a really solid year to think about it, like I'm very much set on like
it's a goal.
It's definitely something I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But I'm giving it like that little bit more time to be like, you're sure, right?
Because it's a big deal. Because it's not just, people might think it's like just breast reduction or like breast augmentation. Is that the right word? I'm not a doctor. Not a doctor. But I think there's more that goes into that. Isn't it like your chest cavity? Like they do stuff with it to make it more like a guy's. There's a lot of stuff that they do. I think
it's really complicated.
Yeah,
and it's. Like, my big thing is that I'm really afraid of the scars, because they still show a part of myself that I don't want people to know that I have. It seems to serve a constant reminder, almost like a binder and or sports bra would do. But at the same time, like, I really want to go. Like, my big thing is I want to go swimming with shorts on.
Yes.
Like, that is just like, I'm just
Ding
like, I want to go there. Like, that's like where I'm just like, I want that feeling.
And to be totally comfortable and have people not even notice at all.
Yeah. Or like simple things, like even just getting out of the shower and going from the shower to my bedroom and having the towel around my waist.
Hell yeah.
Like,
right?
Like, that's what I want to be able to do. And it's like, I can't do that.
Quite do that yet.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it's definitely, it's a long process. It's a big surgery, but it's, generally the people, from what I understand, that you go to, they really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it, like, I'm really small, so I think it's going to make it easier, but I don't know. I have no idea. It's one of those things that when they get in there, they're going to know.
Yeah.
Right? So,
damn.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you're giving yourself that time, too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. To, like, to save up, to make sure, like, to make, like, 1,000% sure that it's what you want. Even though,
And I do know that it is. And like I said, it's something that, like, super gave me definitely, like, pretty bad depression for a long time. And I didn't even understand why.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, because I think, so what is do we have the definition of body what's it called? Dysmorphia?
No, dysphoria.
Dysphoria.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are two different things. Body dysphoria. So that's when you just don't feel good about your body, right?
No, you don't feel like that part of your body, you're not connected, like,
to it all.
To it. Yeah. So, like, you can have body dysphoria about anything. Like, So I was actually talking to my mom about it because I kind of like, I guess, came out to her, if you will, say it like that, to her about it only recently. And like kind of the way I described it to her would be like, for me, it's not just like getting rid of like my chest. Like I realized that that's where it is, but I was like, you need to know that people have body dysphoria about many parts of their body.
Anything.
Like if you like look it up, like you can absolutely find like people have had it about different parts of their body and like they don't feel connected, whether it's their hand or their foot or their jawline, and they, you know, or like maybe their ear. I don't know.
Right. It could be anything.
It could be anything that you feel disconnected completely from. And for me, it just happens to fall on like what is considered like a female.
That's so true. Yeah.
Right. It just falls on a female part for me. And that was where my struggle was, is that because it falls on such a female identifying piece of my body, that I was like, oh my goodness, this means I'm trans, but I'm not trans. What am I? I'm a freak. Oh my God. But
so
that took a long time. Like that was really hard, having that constant battle in my head of like, what are you?
Right.
Like, how can you be a woman with what you want to have as a male, like a male chest? How could you do that? You can't be that. That makes you a freak. Like, what are you? So, you know, like these things play in your head, right?
Oh, yeah,
like
they would.
You know what I mean? Like you definitely become your own worst enemy.
Oh, I can imagine so.
Yeah.
But you seem to be in a much better place now.
Absolutely. I'm so comfortable with who I am. And if anybody has a problem with it, like I really don't waste my time on it.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, like we all have our own discomforts. And even those people that, if they do have a problem with it, I'm sure they have something about their body that they hate too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not going to sit here and criticize or waste my time on it. Like, people are going to not like me. I'm not going to like people. It's going to happen. Like, you know, it's not something that I'm, I don't let it bother me anymore.
That's good.
I like me for me. People don't. I don't waste my time. I'm getting too old for that.
Yeah, screw them.
Like, I'm just like too old for that now.
Also, I don't understand how you could not like you. Like that, like you're one of the most likable, cool, fun, like person. Like so I don't get that. I don't understand the concept of like judging someone or like changing your opinion on them based on like anything physical. Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like
we're not giving somebody a chance. Yeah. Either way, when you get to like, when you start talking to them, that like,
damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Because there's another thing too, like, because I think I was getting it mixed up with another term, which is when, like, let's say you were larger and you lost a shit ton of weight, and then you look in the mirror and you still think you're fat. I think that's another term, body, something to do with body image, but that's something totally different. This body dysphoria is when you just don't feel at all connected to the part. Interesting. Crazy. Wow. So, how do you go about explaining this to people you date?
Well, so it's like I still definitely get out there and I always put myself out there. My thing is that like I don't believe in false pretenses. I don't believe in leading people on or waiting to tell them something until later. Like, it's just not like, I'm very much there's
no point.
No, there isn't. And here's who I am and here's how this is. And if that's not something you're comfortable with, you're allowed to not be comfortable with that. That's totally like, they are allowed to be comfortable with that. So like, generally like when I hook up or go out or, you know, do whatever it is that I do, in terms of actually like hooking up, it does make it easier. Like I have gotten a more positive response from like women who tend to identify as either bi-curious or bisexual or straight, because for me, like I said, I don't like my chest being touched like their boobs. And like lesbians love boobs. And they're allowed. I do. Like, you know, I very much do. Like, so you know what I mean? And it's just like, and that's totally fair that is their preference.
Yes.
And if that's something that they wanted to do during sex or whatever, and I don't want them to do that, that's not where they're at. And that's okay. Like, they are totally entitled to how they feel, 100%. Like, everything should always be consensual
and
obviously
and talked about.
And if that's if that's not something that she's interested in, then that's fine.
Right.
But generally I find when it comes to like women who identify as straight, it makes it easier because they are generally with guys.
Right.
And like guys don't have boobs, so they don't need to. So they're like, oh, so I don't have to do anything extra. I'm like, no, you don't. Like,
I don't think I've ever like felt up a guy.
That's what I'm saying.
I was just like thinking about it now.
Have to.
Like you can appreciate the physique. Like I'm really all about like shoulders and backs and arms. Like I'm all about that. And like I love looking at a guy with a good chest, but like I've never taken my hands and like felt up his pecs. I guess is that what you call them? Pecs?
Yeah.
Like boobs. So I totally get that. So you feel like it's easier with people bi-curious, bisexual or straight.
And they've definitely asked where they're like, so like what do I do? And I'm like, you don't have to, like, just so you know, like that's not something you have to do with me. But like there's definitely been people that I've been with that like they do like that part of it, and that part's really fun for them, and that's they're entitled to that. Like it's not something I have a problem with, which is why it's something that I kind of am just like, hey, as an FYI, this is kind of like how I am and like who I am and what I am and I'm not comfortable with. And it's like, it's definitely been met with like, oh, I kind of really like that part. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not offended. You're allowed to like what you like. And it's like, it's always like a good conversation. It's not something that has ever been met with like a harsh no or negativity or like anybody's been really upset about it or called me anything because of it. Like it's very much just been met with like, oh,
that's good. And do you have it? Do you have it? Because you've done the online dating thing, right?
Yes.
The smile as soon as I said that. We gonna get into it here.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I have.
Is it something that you put on your profile, or is it more something that you talk about on like, you know, an early dating stage situation?
My chest doesn't get brought up in my dating profile, but I do put up how I identify, I do put up that I am a type of asexuality.
Right.
So that goes on there right away. So like it's my dating profile, and then it's like, you know, you put pictures of yourself and the best looking ones of you like making the best poses.
Hell yeah.
And then I put like the flag with the word over it. So I put the Placiosexual flag.
Okay.
And then I put Placiosexual over it. And the way I look at it is if, you know, a girl is going through it and she sees my profile and she doesn't care to look up what that is, then like, I'm not going to bother putting the definition there for you to read it. Like, go ahead and look it up.
You are making it so easy for them. How lazy would you have to be to not like, Google something if you're into someone?
Like, this chick says she's plasiosexual. I don't know what that is, so I don't even care. So it's like, you know, and then it's like, then you don't care about my sexuality, which goes into a whole other like spiel of things that I'm not gonna, I'm glad you flicked away for that. So, you know what I mean? So I've definitely had girls who were like, I looked it up and I'm just curious, like, like, what is that for you? Like, because I read the definition, but I want to hear it in your words so that way I understand, which is really great. I really appreciate when that happens. So in terms of what plasiosexual is, for anybody who doesn't know.
Me included, because I do not.
I actually only like reciprocating sex. So I don't like having sexual acts done to me.
Right.
I am pleased by pleasing. Wow. So it is so much more like pleasurable for me to do the pleasing. Like, not that people haven't for me before, and it's good, you know, it's okay. I don't hate it.
The way that you're saying, the way that you said that just then is how I feel about oral sex on me. Anytime anyone asks me about oral sex, I'm like, yeah, nice. And like you use the upward inflection, you're like, yeah, it's okay, but
it feels good. It does, and it's not like it's awful. But the whole time that anybody is doing anything for me, all I can think about is how much I want to be doing them more.
Something else,
and like it's so much more for me to do for them, and like that is like I'm so okay with that. So like I don't need any of it reciprocated to me at all. So like if it's totally somebody that thinks they're being selfish all night, like it's not. It's better for me if you are. I like it more.
It's like if they're actually being selfless by being selfish.
Hey.
By the way, the bell is here.
I was like, there's a bell on the table.
I didn't explain the bell. The bell is like, I'll make you another drink.
Oh, yeah.
The bell is like a yes bell. Like, like if you really agree with something, or if like a really good joke is made, you can ding it.
Okay.
Yeah. So feel free to ding my bell.
Right then.
Holy shit! Yeah, this is fascinating. I still have so many questions.
Yeah, no, totally. It's like, which again, like, is in terms of like hooking up. That also works out really well for girls who are bi-curious or who have never been with a girl because they're nervous and they don't really know like what to do. And I'm like, that's fine because that's fine with me. You don't need to do anything.
Yeah, just sit back and relax.
Just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Quite literally.
Yes. So like that's for me. Like that's kind of
yeah. So you only like to give.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm asking this question because I don't know the answer. So does that mean that do you get off?
By getting like her off? Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Like
How?
that's what I mean. Like it's just like
is it just the act itself that gets you so turned on?
The act, and like women are amazing. Like women are so beautiful, and like I am a ladies' lady, and like I like the sounds, the movements, the body language. Like it's everything.
Right.
It just is, and it's such a huge turn on when you can feel her like going through all of these things and you're doing that for her. Like that is like, yeah.
That's the ultimate.
That is the
so
ultimate.
It happens for you regardless of if they're actually doing anything to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But like if it's being done to me, it feels good.
Because I imagine...
But it's not like it just, I am fine without it. Like I can go, yeah.
You don't have, it doesn't have to be done to you.
At all.
Because that's not how you get your pleasure.
No.
So what's it called again?
Placiosexual.
And that's a type of asexuality?
Yes. So there's a bit of a misconception of what asexuality is. Yeah. So like when I first started to talk about it, especially to people who don't know me or don't know about the spectrum, they're like, "Oh, you're asexual. You hate sex." And I was like, "Well, okay, no."
Whoa.
Well, hold on there. I did not say that. But yeah, no, there is a spectrum of like different types of asexuality. And I fall under what is called placiosexual.
Right.
And that solely means like that I do. So here. Yeah. I decided to.
We're gonna read the official definition.
The official definition here, which is one feels little to no desire to receive sexual acts, but expresses interest/desire in performing them on someone else. So I identify most with placiosexual. For a little while, I thought I identified more with lithosexual. And then the more reading I kind of did, I feel more that I fall under the placiosexual. But yeah, I encourage everybody to like super look up that spectrum. It's a lot bigger than you think.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like some people, I forget what it's, I wish I could remember the name of it, but like there's a type of asexuality that is, people don't, let's see if I can remember it exactly because I don't want to mess it up and offend anybody. But it's, that they don't feel an emotional connection until sex has been had. So like unless
interesting.
So like they can't emotionally connect with somebody until they've had sex.
Because I've heard of the other way around where you need the emotional connection.
For you to have sex. And that's one as well. So like there is a spectrum there, and I super encourage everybody to look it up because it is really fascinating. And like I was talking to somebody about it recently and they like had their own epiphany where they're like, "Oh my God, like I think I am." And I was like, read into it, look into it. Like, you know who you are sexually and you know what you like during sex and what you don't like. Yeah. And that could, like, once you figure that out and you do, like, it's one of those things where I have a love-hate relationship for labels.
Yeah.
In that, like, I hate labels because I hate that everybody feels like it needs to have a name. Right. Where they're like, you need to have a label for me to understand what you are. But I also love them because it it makes me feel like I am a part of something.
Yeah, that's
you know,
very
like
true.
I'm not weird. I'm not at a place, like I do have a name. I have a flag. I have a thing that, you know, like I get to be like, I'm Placiosexual. I have body dysphoria. Like it has a name. It's real.
Right.
It doesn't make me crazy or like.
And then other people can be like, well, I have that too.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it brings people together in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it giving it a name also like, and putting a label on it, again, it's a love-hate thing where it's like, I love it because it makes me feel a part of something.
Yeah.
And I hate it because everybody feels like we all need labels for a thing. But,
and you're not someone, and what's crazy about it is like, you're not someone who's like, Placiosexual, like you don't throw it in people's faces.
No, absolutely.
In fact, I think up until tonight, I just thought asexual. Like you just say I'm asexual. Which kind of, it's an umbrella term.
yeah.
Which is great because it makes it easy for us dumb straight people to be like, oh, okay. But I think that the most, what's the right word to use here? I think when people think of asexuality, you're right. They think of people who don't like sex, or they think, oh, I have this friend who like, they never seem to care about sex, or they're never really sexual. Like they must be asexual. And it's like, no, there's so many different types, like you said.
They could need a connection first, or like there's so many things that it can be, and it's definitely like like it's kind of wonderful. Like I super hope that anybody that is listening looks it up because it's good to know.
Maybe I'll like find a link or something and put a link to it so people can read it because that's pretty fascinating. So did you have a like a coming out kind of process when you kind of realized this is what I am and I'm going to tell the people in my life that this is what I am?
I'm very I'm very comfortable with who I am. It's not one of those things where like when I first came out where I needed to tell everybody I was like the gayest. Where I was like, look at me,
because
rainbows and everything.
I'm pretty sure, and like I'm not to assume anything, but I think when I met you, I thought you were straight.
I identified as straight when for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think, and then and then I'm pretty sure it happened. Yeah, it happened later on.
It definitely came out like well after we met, probably about 2, maybe even 3 years after we met. Mm-hmm. It had been a while.
But I remember being like, yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody did. The second I came out, they were like, yeah, you took a while. We're just
we still love you regardless.
Yeah, but it took a while there, buddy. Yeah, no, it's not one of those things anymore where like I said, when I first came out, I super came busting out of the closet with all the rainbows. And it was like, and I super don't regret that at all. I'm really glad that when I came out, I was just like full on out. Yeah. But now like I am who I am. Mm-hmm. And when I learn something about myself, and I finally realize what that is, I tell the people in my life that are closest to me. And then other than that, it's not something that I just run around advertising or screaming to the world. It's like
if someone takes the time to have a deep conversation with you, it'll probably come up.
Absolutely.
But it's not something you're going to like you said, scream it from the rooftops.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not something I mind talking about. And I don't mind people asking questions about it. For the most part, most people don't know about the asexual spectrum, and it's definitely something that I enjoy talking about.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But yeah, it's not one of those things where I'm just going to go out of my way to tell people or post it or whatever, But
it is, you're right though, it is such a misconception that it is just people who don't like sex. Mind you, I know of people who are asexual who that is the case for, who they just don't have sex.
Yep.
And that, you're right, that's a kind of it. But
absolutely,
there's other kinds.
Yeah.
Let's all open our minds a bit and learn that it's not just dun 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 dun.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many different kinds. Okay. So when you're in the stages of you've told them this is what I am, and you tell them I only like giving, what do you find is the reaction?
It's to be honest, it's usually
cha-ching.
You would think. Sometimes people are I've definitely had people be oh, people must be girls must be oh yeah, and I'm well,
but
they ask because they're like, wait, really? Like, what does that mean though? Like, like you do me like 3 times or something and then I do you once, or like you first kind of like how
does this work?
And I'm just like, no, really, just really sit back, enjoy the ride. That's where this is going. Like that.
It's as easy as that.
It's like, and it's just like, okay, but like, what isn't okay? And I'm like, so it's very sweet because they are asking, and that's so much.
Because to them, pleasing you in their mind is the conventional way of pleasing you, which is doing stuff to you.
Exactly.
But they have to then change their thinking and be like, okay, no, like
I just really have to just enjoy myself.
Just sit back and if I relax and enjoy this, that will please her. Kind of thing, which is an interesting, because I mean, with straight people, and 45 minutes in, if you're still listening, you can hear this. I find with dudes, like in straight situations, with guys, you get the guys that are like, I'm not going to stop until you come. And sometimes I'm just like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, and I mean, I don't know if you find this, because you made a comment on Friday that I was just like, oh man, because you were like, I'm really good at what I do. And I don't you at all. But like, do you ever get those situations where it's like, it doesn't quite happen, and then what's the mood after like? Because I mean, in a straight situation, if I can't get off, I usually say it a bunch of times. This isn't going to happen for me. I'm really tired, or like there's so many reasons why it might not happen. But then it usually shifts gears and it's like, okay, you're going to finish now and then we'll be done. So in your case, what's that like? Because it would be a situation of this isn't going to happen, so I guess we're just done here. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
for me, it would be that if it's not going to happen and she expresses that, then it's like just a matter of like just making her feel good. So like, don't do anything aggressive or try to like make
overdo it. I think that's
anything.
That's
and
what
like,
it is
just
the overdoing.
Like, and then like listen to her body language. Like, listen to the way her body is moving and like the sounds that she's making, and like when they're not there, but they're still kind of there, but kind of coming off of it, then lay off a bit and slowly ease back out of it. And then just so like, important. If that's enough, and then ask.
Yeah.
Ask.
Because
there's nothing wrong with asking.
And there's nothing more like kind of frustrating when it's like you just want to relax and you just want to take a breather. I like to use the word take a breather. Like, let's take a breather.
Take a minute, of course.
Like, let's just chill out and chat. Like, let's just lay here for a bit. But it's like when they're like constantly like at you, like I'm just like, just leave it for a second. I think my vagina has a reset button. like I just need to hit the reset button, and that reset button, is like 10 to 15. Like I would say 10 minutes. Maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then, like, reset. Because I get those aftershock things that people get. I don't know. Do people get those? Am I weird? Like, after you've banged and, like, got off a bunch, like, you feel like you have these little mini orgasms afterwards. Maybe I'm just fucking weird. I don't know. But
I don't think it's weird, but
it's like overstimulation or something.
I don't know it.
Yeah. You're talking to the wrong person. I produce those, not experience them.
It's just, like...
Damn. But getting in your... And we talked about this on Friday, too, like the idea of getting in your head and how that takes you out of the sexual experience, like when you feel the pressure kind of thing, when you're with someone new.
For me, it's when I like somebody.
Yeah, don't feelings just fuck everything up.
It's like when I really, really, really care about somebody, I'm garbage. Just like I can't function as a human. I can't talk. Like words are a problem. Stuttering is a thing. Like
God, yeah,
and it's
I know.
Yeah, like. So annoying.
Nerves are so real.
Oh my God.
Nerves are so real.
Super, super, super nervous. And like, it's, it's one of those things where I get so mad at myself when I get nervous, and like, cause I know that I'm better. And
Right.
when it's not coming out that way, I'm like, I swear I'm better than this.
Yeah.
I'm so nervous because I like you. And this is like, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry.
You have to issue like an official apology. Oh yeah.
So,
but I feel if they like you back, they'd understand. You know what I mean? Like, is the thing they'd understand that sometimes it's nerves and it's a new situation too. Like I feel like you need. I think with some people you gotta develop like a comfort level and you gotta like just kind of like ease more into it. Like okay, it didn't quite work out this time. Now let's try it again and again. Because like man, like first times are rarely great.
Yeah. Definitely.
They can be good.
Yeah.
But they might not be the greatest.
Yeah.
Because you're not just quite, it's the first time you're with someone. Like,
yeah, you don't know their kinks and their quirks and like things they like and don't like and whatever. So it's like, the first time is, like you said, it can be good. Of course.
It can be good, yeah.
But to be like, great?
It takes some time.
It takes a little bit of time, yeah.
It takes the time.
Yeah.
Damn. And are you a monogamous person when you like someone, you want to be with just them?
To a certain degree, and I will definitely explain. Wherein I don't think people all of a sudden become unattractive when you're in a relationship. So, and like, I can't tell you the amount of people that I've made out with and kissed.
Right,
like,
you were mentioning this.
So many people can say the exact same thing. That they're like, man, the amount of times I went downtown and like made out with this person, like, oh my God. But you can always name the amount of people you actually had feelings for. You know who they are, you know their names, you know what they look like, and you genuinely know who they are. So for me, it's one of those things where if I'm with somebody and they feel like, she's like, man, that girl's like so hot, I want to go make out with her. It's just like, okay.
Go do it. I don't care.
Go for it. Like, she is very attractive.
Yeah.
Have at it. But, you know, it's like anything really apart from sex, I'm okay with.
Right.
You know, like if they want to go, like if I'm with somebody and they want to go dirty dancing with another girl or whatever, and it's like, sure.
Right.
Because, like, I am very guilty of being a person who is dirty dance with people. And again, I
by the way,
they don't know my name and I don't even know theirs.
It's been forever since I dirty danced.
Oh my God, I love dirty dancing.
Well, like, I love the movie.
Right. No, I love going out and dirty dancing.
It's been forever since I've gone out dancing and like a grind up on someone.
Oh my God, I love it. It's so much fun.
I haven't done it in so long.
I love dirty dancing with gay boys.
Oh, they're the best ones to do it with.
They're so great. I love it.
Yeah. I usually get more action from them than from anyone else.
But yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, of course you have to reach a point of trust with your partner. So it's something that if I were to start dating somebody, that I would express that and be like, hey,
yeah.
At the beginning, be like, maybe because we don't know each other 100% yet and we're not quite there yet, but at some point, like when we get down the road, like I'm okay with this and this and this. But let's reach trust first.
Yeah.
Like, let's get there where you know that if I were to kiss her, or I know that if you were to kiss this other person, that if they take it too far, that you're going to put your hands up and be like, no, I'm sorry. I have a partner.
Right.
I was just making out. Like, I'm going home to my partner.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And like, that takes time. That takes trust.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah. And
it's a scary conversation to have. I think a lot of people are really scared to have that conversation.
I can absolutely see why they would be. For me, it's not something that I'm scared to have because it's something that I don't like to give those false pretenses. No. I don't like to give this like any kind of like, you know, this is going to be a surprise later, or like, you know, like, oh, wait, that's not what you said at the beginning. It's like, no, here's the kind of, here it is. Like, I am Placiosexual. So like 6 months down the road, 6 weeks down the road, whatever, I'm not going to still want you to reciprocate. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, this is what I am.
It's not like a right now thing tonight. This is a permanent thing. Yeah. So like, if you are not comfortable with that, that's fine, but tell me now.
Exactly.
Also, I have body dysphoria. I plan, like, I'm going to get top surgery someday. If that's not okay with you, then that's okay. Just let me know now.
Do you ever get people who are unsure? So, like, let's say they're into you and you tell them this.
Yeah.
And they care about you. And if they're not, there's nothing wrong with not being sure. Because in my mind, like, I'm coming across a lot of people who are poly lately. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they're just like, well, are you okay with that? And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't know, because I've never experienced it. I've never been with someone who has openly told me they're with a shit ton of other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so will I like it? I don't think I will, but I can't say for sure because I've never tried it.
Yeah.
And so I imagine you get people who are unsure. But I mean, at the same time, I think it's just about like communication all the way through. So like, if you want to try it out, cool. Just let me know when it gets to be not okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's kind of, I can understand why you'd want someone who would know for sure. Like, I'm okay with this. Because you're not wasting your time then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing.
And if they're not sure, like, that's okay. And I'm fine with, like, dating somebody. Like, if I were to start dating somebody that was like, you know what? I am okay with it right now. And I super am. And I feel like I still will be. Like, yeah. But, like, let's give this time too. And it's like, that's fine. Yeah. Especially like starting out, like, yeah. How long does it take you to really get to know somebody, you know? Like, you don't like to call each other like girlfriends, boyfriends, partners, like within the first 2 weeks, I think I didn't always feel this way. Yeah. As I get older, I find I'm, growing up a little bit with this, but it's, I find it's one of those things where to call each other that so quickly is a bit premature. 100%. It's like you deserve to like give both of yourselves that time. Yeah. To figure it out. Yeah. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And if you want to be with just each other, but don't want to say that, like, nobody's meeting any parents yet. Or boyfriend, girl. Like, it's the title. Like, it's the boyfriend, girlfriend title. Changing statuses and all this stuff. It's just like, can we just, like, what if we, like, what's wrong with even dating somebody for 2 months? And being like, not changing your status and not calling them anything other than, like, somebody that you're seeing. Right. And not having to introduce them to like I said, like parents or anything, or take them home or buy gifts and stuff. Like just like, just figuring it out. And that should be allowed to be okay. It seriously should be. And also too, it's like, it should happen naturally. Yeah. Like the title is going to come naturally if you're progressing at that upwards pace. And exactly. And if you finally both reach a point, or even like you do, where you want to revisit the conversation, where you talk to that person that you've been kind of seeing and you're like, hey, I'm kind of reaching a point where like, I like you and I kind of want to just be like with you. You seem very real and like, I really like this. Yeah. And I want to keep this going. Right. Like, I want to be able to call you my partner, but I want to know where you stand with that. But like, that's how I feel. I think that that's completely valid. And I think if that other person is like, I'm not quite there yet. I do really like this. I'm not saying I don't. Can we give it maybe either A, more time, or B, you know what? It's not what I thought it was. Yeah. C, whatever. But like, it should be met on both sides with like an open mind. It should be. And also too, I think that sometimes a lot of people jump to this conclusion of, oh, she brought up the relationship talk. She's a clinger now. She's clingy. And it goes to this negative place. And I'm just like, but like, that's not what it is. That's not what I meant. That's not what it is at all. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be clear of where things are at. And I think it's super mature for someone, if they're not feeling it, to be honest about that. Absolutely. And not immediately go to, you're a clinger. And you're a clinger. Or like, there's, ghosting people now. Like, just completely ditching them and it's like, you know what? Like, it's so incredibly rude. Yeah, just be honest. Just be honest. People are afraid of honesty is what it is. And that I'm finding that too, like, they just don't know how to be honest. It's easier for them to just either like walk away or, like, even for some people, like, they're like, oh, I'll lead them on for a bit and then like, and then I'm done kind of thing, or get what they need out of it, or, it's just like, if all you want from this is sex, say that. Thank you. Yes.
No, it's so important.
It's true. Like, if it is something, if that is what you want, fine. But talk to me about it, and then we can find a common ground. And if it's like, you know what, I don't want to have sex with you 7 days a week, let's talk twice a week. And if you want to go with other people as well, then fine, I'm going to go do my thing with other people. But, like, tell me that's what you want.
Seriously, though.
Like, just tell me that's what you're looking for. Like, if that's what you want to be friends with benefits, then we will be friends with benefits, or we won't.
So many people don't know how to do friends with benefits correctly. So if you're just looking for casual sex, you know what you don't do? Take the person out on dates.
No, you don't. You don't.
Right? like this is my thing. It's like, are people, I don't know. I feel like people just assume to get sex you have to like do this dating thing
there
as like
a thing about
obligation or like a formality. I guess that would be the word. It would be like a formality. And it's like, no, like the problem with Tinder is that people aren't honest about what they want. Yeah. There's no, like there should be a mandatory box on there that says like you cannot be on this app unless you check what you want. And it should be like dating, casual sex, friends with benefits. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, casual sex and friends with benefits are kind of the same, but I guess friends with benefits is just like you'd hang out with that person every now and then.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah.
To me, like, I've experienced casual sex to a level that most people haven't, which is like a Facebook message, and then he's over here banging me.
Yeah.
And there was no talking. There was no hanging out in public.
Yeah.
There was like, that's casual sex in my mind.
Yeah.
But not everyone has that, that idea
so
of it.
true. So true.
Yeah. People just aren't honest enough on their online dating.
Or like if you go out on one date with somebody, then, you know, and they're constantly messaging you, and it's just like,
yeah.
Like no, like that one date went really bad. I don't know where you thought it went well, but it didn't. You know, and
that boggles my mind. The idea of someone thinking a date went well when it didn't. Like you got to pick up on cues at some point, right?
Yeah. Like if somebody's sitting there with like one arm on the table and like their hand on their forehead and their eyes like really big looking at you, like please don't say anything else. That means it's going not well.
That means
not well. Or if they keep ordering consecutive drinks one after the other, like
damn. Dating is fucking hard. So you recently, and we won't be specific with anything, but you recently moved to a new city. Or well, not moved. You've been in a new city for a while.
A while, yes.
Yeah. What was that like, getting back into like the online dating scene?
I had never actually tried online dating before, ever. That was the first time I tried it, because I was in a bigger city, and I was like, you know, I'm doing it. I'm going in. I don't know what this is, and again, like I was like, as long as I'm honest, and since it's a dating app, if it doesn't seem like, if they're weird about it right off the get-go and they send me a weird message, then I don't even have to go, which is great. They don't even have to say a weird thing to me in person and I have to somehow run away. It's great. Like
very true. Very true.
And I had a lot of luck with it, in that I met some pretty great people.
And at one point on Friday, you said you had 3 dates in one weekend. What?
I had 4.
I need at least a week to mentally prepare myself for a date.
Yeah, no, I had 4. I was like, I'm in. I'm doing it.
Damn.
I'm gonna ask these 4 people out. And I did, and I didn't end up going out with all of them.
Like, did it just fizzle before the date actually happened? Kind of thing, or?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's say that.
Let's say that. It just, like, I told them, you know, I was honest, and I was just like, hey, like this kind of thing happened, and like, if you still want to chat, like I like meeting new people, and I would still like to get a drink at some point, but just for me, like, just FYI.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, you gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's like what comes out of all of this, is like, we gotta not be afraid to be honest, even if we don't know these people.
Yeah. And that's just it. Like, I find it's easier to be honest even if you don't know them. Because you're like, I don't know you, which means
I don't have any emotional...
if you're offended by me being honest in who I am and how I like present myself, that's on you. Like,
yeah.
Peace.
I know, right?
I don't have to stand there and defend myself or argue or whatever it is. Like,
yeah.
You know, so I think, Like, I had really positive experiences from
That's
online
good.
dating. Again, it's only new. Like, I feel like I'm a baby to it.
Right.
But they were all positive. When it didn't work, it didn't work. And when it did, it did.
And you can tell pretty quick when you're talking to someone if they start saying things that you're like,
Exactly. You get the icky feeling where you're like,
Right? Yeah. And then sometimes you match on someone and you don't quite realize until you've talked to them that you're not into it at all. And that's always kind of awkward too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's important for all of us to just own ourselves a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm comfortable with.
And but the thing is, I think that people also, and again, like, I don't want to say anybody feels the way that they feel, but what I've just noticed is that, like, you're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to have rules. And that doesn't make you picky.
No.
That doesn't make you weird or annoying or fussy or whatever. It is who you are. You're allowed to have preferences. You're allowed to like what you like, and you're allowed to not like what you don't like. Like, that is okay. That there's nothing wrong with that.
So true.
And I find that people kind of shun themselves for that, where they're like, oh, I don't really like this, but that makes me, shallow or this and this. And it's like, no. Deep down, every single person has a type that they do and don't like.
It's true.
Everybody does.
It's so true.
Like, there's something about that person and how they view politics, religion, people, whatever it may be. There's a thing about them that, may trigger you the wrong way. And so for you, it's, that's your thing that's like, that's a cutoff for me. That's a bit of a thing that I'm not interested in.
We have our deal breakers.
But we have our deal breakers, or it's like, what, I like you as a person, but in terms of like ever really dating you, that's not something like that I can't do.
Right.
And that's okay. Like, that
there's nothing wrong with it,
no, there's nothing wrong with that. Just be honest about it. And that's okay if you are. You're allowed to have those moments where.
So true.
Yeah.
Because I've been single for 6 years almost.
Really?
6 years. And I get you're being too picky. But then I'll have an experience with a guy and they'll be like, that guy's a piece of shit, you're not being picky enough. And I'm like, what? How do I don't know how to find the happy medium. This is really difficult.
Yeah.
Like, you say I'm too picky and then you're insulting the people I pick. So I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think it comes from the more you know yourself, the more that you accept yourself, the more you're going to figure out.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're going to figure it out, like...
I've been single now for 8 months, and I'm enjoying it, and I have a different perspective going into whatever may happen next.
Yeah.
And that perspective is like that, my last relationship, I didn't know about my body dysphoria yet. Like, I didn't, not that I didn't know about it, but like, I wasn't fully aware of like what it meant. I wasn't fully aware of like why during sex, when it was being given to me, that I really was like, stop.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what any of that meant. So, I've learned a lot about myself in that way. And I'm very much just like, this is who I am and this is what I do and don't like. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. It is okay that I don't like things.
Exactly.
And that was something that I used to think made me like an asshole for.
Right. Yeah.
That like I was an ass because I didn't like a thing.
You're being too specific, or you're being too
you're being an ass. Like, you're just being an asshole. You can't not like that about somebody. And it's like,
damn.
No, it's a preference, and I'm sure that thing about me just as equally that person wouldn't like.
Right. No, it's true.
Who wants to get up with me at 5:30 in the morning and go for runs and swimming and biking? Not a whole lot of people.
That time does not exist to me.
It's like, it's something that I enjoyed. I like getting up early. I like exercising, and I like doing that, and I want somebody to be able to enjoy that with me. And that doesn't make me an asshole.
Not at all.
Like, there's definitely people who would like to get up at 2:00 in the afternoon. I don't want that.
Mm-hmm. So the concept of settling is...
Like, why?
Why settle? Like, that's the thing. Like, how old are you?
29. I will be 30 in
Good stuff.
2 months.
Yeah, I'm 30. So, like,
Dirty 30.
I make jokes all the time about... Like, I make jokes. I make a lot of jokes. It's just how I deal with life. Self-deprecation is just how I deal. It's just who I am. But I make a lot of jokes, but like, I just need to find someone to settle for. Ha ha ha. And I'm not being serious when I say that. That's just a joke I make because I do notice, I have witnessed relationships where I'm like, this is clearly a settling situation because you might not think you could find someone who you can be your full self with.
Yeah.
Like, you witness couples that are like, when they're not with that other person, they're like letting loose and like being their real selves, and you're just like, oh, you felt like you've had to be on your best behavior with your partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's not like, that to me is the opposite of kind of relationship that I want. Like, I want to be my full self with you. And it makes me really sad to think about that.
I think it's important that, like, and I've definitely run across the same thing where it's just like, you're so different when you're not with your partner.
Right?
And it's like, there's a reason for that. Like, like, listen to what your own body is saying when you're out and how you feel. When you're not around that person.
If you're out partying and you get a text from your partner and your first thought is, oh shit, you're probably not
in a healthy relationship.
Right?
Or like, your thought goes to, if you do something, you'd be like, I could never do that if they were here.
Yeah.
Like, I could never like dance really silly like this, or have a shot, or, you know, whatever. Or
it just makes me sad. It makes me sad that people think that, like, just because they found someone who's dating them, that they don't want to lose that person and they don't want to be their like full selves around them. Like, that makes me really, really sad.
Yeah. You should be very comfortable in your own skin, and you should love you for you. And if somebody isn't going to like you for all of those parts of you, even the parts that are like, without sounding super cliche and like Grey's Anatomy.
Yes, let's get Grey's Anatomy up in here. I'll put the theme music over this segment.
Yeah, like, at the risk of sounding super cliche. Like, you know, love you for you. And, you know, like, even the parts that are hard to like.
Yeah.
Find somebody that likes them. And if they don't, like, you just shouldn't be there, because especially if you were the type that is the type that would never do that in reverse. Yeah. Like, you deserve the same respect.
It's so true. Yeah. Which is why usually when I meet new people, I'm like, I'm just going to be Sarah 10 times. Like, I'm going to be 10 times myself. Because if you can get down with me being 10 times myself, you're going to be able to roll with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but man, dating is, it's hard. It can be hard. I find it hard.
Like I said, I'm fresh single-ish. Like, I don't feel fresh single. I feel like I've been single for like a while now.
8 months is quite a while.
8 months is, for me, a lot happened for me in 8 months. Yeah. I had a massive career change. I'm in my dream job now. I'm doing something I love so much. I'm happier as a person. I'm exercising even more than I was, and I feel really great about it.
You're focusing on you.
Yeah, I'm making healthy, like, eating choices, and, like, I am very comfortable with being me for me. Yeah. And so, like, I feel like, even though, yes, it's been 8 months, I've grown so much as a person, and I feel like I'm so much more myself than I've ever been. Right. Like, I finally feel like I'm me again, or me at all.
Yeah.
Not even to say again, because, like, I don't ever think I ever felt this way. Right. And so for me, it's just been such an excellent learning journey for myself. And I'm super, super happy with where I'm at.
Damn, it's kind of like an onion. Like, you're peeling
it all off.
You peel away the layers. you got rid of some stuff, but you're like, you're in a better place.
I'm like, better place.
I can tell, too, because, like, from the last time that I saw you, well, actually, from the first time that I met you to now, I can tell you're in a way better place.
Yeah, because you're
truly happy.
Yeah, I really am, and I really like where I'm at now. And so it's, for me, like, if dating works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like,
if it doesn't, it doesn't. Exactly.
And that, like, because I am just on such a, like, excellent path for me in terms of, like I said, like, my career and my training and stuff, that. Yeah, I'm super happy with it. And
it's kind of one of those things. And I've always kind of said this on the show of, like, you can't control other people. So if you like someone, you can't make them like you. But you can control your career. You can control what you do in your spare time to make you happy. You can control, like, how you work on yourself and shit. And, like, those things should be at the forefront.
Yep.
And if you then happen to find someone who gets down with you and likes that, then that's fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
But, like, everyone should put themselves first, I think.
Yeah.
No.
And when you start dating somebody, that doesn't mean they have to go all in for that person. Like, still focus on you, still focus on what you're doing. And if it seems to be going in the right direction, then be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is going well. I'm going to put a little bit more effort here and a little bit more effort there. And like, if you see them meeting you that way too, where they're like, you know what, I like this person too. I'm going to start making a little bit of sacrifices with my free time instead of always going and doing this with this friend. I'm going to do it with them this and this night, but I'm going to spend this night with this person. So it's like when you start seeing that sacrifice being made on their end too, and the two of you are doing it, like that to me seems like a moment where you should have that conversation of like, all right, 100%.
So what's going on here?
Yeah. So
what are we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not always going to be like a straight, like, you're my girlfriend or... there's so many things with it.
Right.
But I guess it's all bridges we gotta cross when we get there, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, let's not focus on them now. Like, let's focus on them when we get there.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, in terms of dating, like, I'm just, I'm enjoying dating. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm not letting it stress me out or get to me or letting, if there's any negativity, it's gone. Like, it's just like, hey, I'm not into that, so best of luck. Yeah. Take care. It was nice chatting with you. Like, peace. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
You know? So
there's no need to get worked up. No. And I'm talking to you straight guys on Tinder who get so fucking worked up when either, like, I don't agree to go on a date with you or, like, the conversation got weird and I stopped talking to you. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, there's so many fish in the sea. I know that's also a cliche.
Yeah.
We should have a drinking game, like, count the cliches in this episode.
How many cliches can we say in one podcast?
Seriously, we said a lot, but a lot of them are so true.
Yeah.
They're so true. Mm-hmm. Like, the older I get, the more I realize that those cliches are true. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, I guess love yourself, everyone. That's the message of the show,
RuPaul
right?
says it best.
Hell yeah, RuPaul. Love yourself. Thank you so much, Brenda, for coming on. This was excellent.
Thank you.
I bet you never thought you'd be spilling your life on a podcast.
No, I didn't. But I mean, hey, there's a first for everything.
Listen, when you're as awesome as you gotta. You gotta. So, thanks so much. And, well, we will keep in touch and maybe you'll be back sometime.
Yeah.
For another episode. You never know.
That'd be fun.
If things change. If both of us are all of a sudden married, we can come back and be like, remember that time when we were talking about being single? And dating and all that? Yeah, no, but this was fantastic. Thanks so much on, like, shedding light on asexuality as well and the stuff that, like, I didn't know a lot about before having this conversation. So I hope people learn some things tonight. So that's what we can hope for, right?
I hope so too.
So bring it in for a cheers. Yes. And ring that bell.